The following video contains spoilers for Undertale. You've been warned. In 2015, Toby released this, Undertale, his best game yet. I think its best part is the bullet hell combat, a system so catchy, most people probably don't think about sparing, but they should, because it's not just about befriending your enemies and getting to the good end, it also equips the experience with a better toolset. Hey Flowey! Ah! Undertale is a marvelous game about a child trying to get away from monsters and get back home while trying not to be killed. And trying not to be killed is a key part of the game. While most games focus on the killing part, Undertale focuses more on how not to get killed, and it nails it. Undertale not only has multiple different types of attack coming at you at any given moment, but it also has a lot of different mechanics involved. The minimalistic UI and the lack of perspective allow for things to come from your side, in front of you, above you, or pretty much all around you, and it still feels just right. Then there are the gimmicks. You can move 4 ways when your soul is red, like a top-down game, until you go blue and the game becomes a 2D platformer. Then you go green, and now you have to block incoming attacks. Going purple means we're playing Frogger, and finally, going yellow means shooting incoming threats before they can hurt you. I really enjoyed playing Undertale. It's a rather short game that doesn't overstay its welcome. You can finish the game in about 3 hours. When I first did it, I got the neutral ending, and I can comfortably say that this is peak gaming. Flowey's fight is a fantastic boss fight. It teaches you the flow of the fight in the first part by showing how you can harm Flowey and the attacks he uses before you can actually fight him. So in a way, it's a tutorial within a boss fight. It has a strong self-contained narrative within the fight, with tension and release. First you get bullied by Flowey all around and it's a horrific experience. The music is upsetting and there is nothing you can do while the psychopath tortures you. But there are brief moments of respite where you can catch your breath, only to be tossed back into more madness, until you gather the power to get back at him, and the music makes it feel like it's the most epic moment of your life. It's got better structure than most movies out there. It's a whole universe within those precious 10 minutes of gaming. It's amazing. So, when I found out there was another ending, I had to try it out. I played it again for the pacifist run, and I overall felt less happy with the experience. Don't get me wrong, the ending was great, and I felt warm and fuzzy enough to delay shooting aliens in XCOM and StarCraft 2 for 2 whole days, because I don't have to kill, and I don't have to be killed, but I do it for fun. The problem is that playing it again felt more like a chore for the majority of the run. I kept thinking,
oh shit, here we go again.
This should make some sense because I was replaying a game, but that's just not the case for other games this short. Once I finished it, I decided I should replay Undertale, and my best friend told me not to. He claimed it was because it would ruin everybody's happiness, and probably because he was scared I would kill him. Again. He wasn't wrong, the clever guy.
But is that the whole story?
I enjoyed fighting Flowey, so I wanted to do it a second time. But this time, getting through the game really highlighted the problem with it. Undertale has 0 replayability. That's because of 3 things. First, attacking is dull. It's true that other games have rather unremarkable combat, but they at least make pressing a button from a menu feel exciting to the point where I can grind for hours just to see the next splashy thing on my screen. The second problem is that the skill ceiling is too low. I can't say I have seen any degree of improvement in my gameplay after multiple runs in Undertale, because there isn't much need or room for improvement. Even the Sans battle is more about memorizing his attack order than anything else. So the smart guy was actually just a sock puppet for Toby, so he could guilt-trip the player into not fighting the most glaring flaw in his game. And I gotta say, from a game developer's perspective, this is brilliant. The man found a way to get away with the biggest shortcoming in his game, devious.
Yes, might have gotten away with it too. If it wasn't for these blasted kids and their dog.
But enough about lore. We're here to talk about mechanics, because the mechanics in Undertale are pretty interesting, and I'd like to see more of them. In fact, I liked them so much that I cloned the game. Undertale, but more specifically, fighting Flowey, caused such an impact on me that I wanted to play more of it. I liked the idea of making the attack command pop in the combat so much that I thought about making a game based around that. I made a clone in a week for a game jam, and the result was... playable. The plan was to make different effect buttons pop up, sometimes at the same time. Then the player would step on one of them and activate it, and buttons would stop appearing for a while, like a cooldown. The thing is that the jam's theme was button mashing, so instead of using something once that would cause a strong effect and then spend a few moments playing defense, creating a back and forth rhythm in the combat, the idea became rushing to a button and mashing space as much as possible to cause a small effect. It was nice to get it out, but it suffered from the same mechanical issues present in Undertale. You end up playing it the same way every time because there are no options. The only real option in Undertale is whether you are going for a genocidal, pacifist or neutral run, and this is decided right in the beginning of the game. After that, you just go with the motions. The focus of the entire game is on the other half of the screen, and that doesn't make for a very interesting gameplay experience after the novelty wears off. The combat becomes terminally boring after you figure the enemy out, because there is nothing else there. Other RPGs have builds, and fighting the same enemy with different builds require different strategies due to the different capabilities of your choices. So, to fix that, I thought about making the player being able to collect attacks and choose which one to activate at any given time. There's another game that allows you to do that. It's called Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. Granted, collecting attacks would add some variety, but at the end of the day, you'd still be using the same tactics and the room for customization would be tight. Chain of Memories would be boring if all you did was collecting cards and activating them. Luckily for me, someone already thought about that, and Kingdom Hearts is a deck building game. You get to pick what moves you can use and then get ready to The problem with Chain of Memories is the hardware limitation. There are only 6 buttons in a Game Boy Advance, and you have to manually cycle through the cards, and that can take a while. Fortunately, I'm building for PC, which means I have access to all the keys. So, instead, I thought that cards could be assigned to slots and activated with keys for each slot. One game jam later, and voila! Now we have a nice mechanic that makes killing more fun, but that still doesn't solve the problem of the pacifist run also being repetitive. And that's a huge part of the game, and I think the option of sparing your enemies is great. I like the idea, but the implementation seems flawed. Sure, you can talk monsters out of a fight, but they will come back and try to kill you later. So it doesn't seem to affect the game until the very end, and the way to spare is far too whimsical, and sometimes outright silly for me to appreciate. Next time someone tries to rob me at gunpoint, I'll tell them a joke. He'll laugh, I'll laugh, the coroner will laugh, my family, not so much. But what if there was a more realistic approach to that? Say, disabling your enemy's capability to harm you. For example, in front mission, you can break the robot's limb by applying enough damage till they break. Shoot one arm off and the enemy can't use it. In Crossout, you can destroy the enemy's gun by firing at them and whatever piece of rig they're attached to. You can just knock guards out in Invisible Ink. A lot of games already implement non-lethal confrontation, but most of them stop there. What if letting your enemies live amounted to better in-game results? Or at least more options. Let's say you are a law enforcer in the game and you can just shoot a terrorist, getting an acceptable result. Or you can go for a harder shot, disabling him. Now you can take him back for questioning, where he can snitch where his stash is, netting you better results. Or maybe he'll offer you some money to let him go and you get to decide what kind of officer you are. I don't know exactly how I'm going to implement this yet, but I think we can agree that there are more interesting outcomes if the enemy lives. Disabling the enemy was rather tricky to implement, and a lot of it is still a work in progress. The hardest part was finding assets that work even if you disassemble parts of it. In fact, I found exactly one, Ichi asset pack, paid or otherwise, that fits the bill. If you know about any asset packs that could be used, please let me know in the comments below. Anyway, here's what I have so far. As you can see, there isn't a lot of attack variety yet. I'll be working on it later when I finish getting the rest of the basic stuff done. In the meantime, I'm taking suggestions, so feel free to scroll down and comment what kind of moves you would like to see. If I use your suggestion, I will credit you as a contributor to the project. In fact, a lot of the project is still on the table. I figure it's better to showcase as I go and maybe get good ideas in the process. So tell me, what do you want to see in a JRPG and I might add it. Let's casually create a game together. In the meantime, click the like button and ring that bell if you want to see how this goes and whether we take off or crash and burn. See you guys when I have more stuff to show and share.
Where are you going?
I have to code a video game.